Every time the family nanny leave for a date, will write a note to the man. The man less than 3 seconds, will excuse the company something to go out. The wife noticed the difference, picked up the small nanny, left the leave note, gently traced, found the words on the note is full of provocation. In fact, the wife has long been found that her husband cheated on the nanny. She could not believe this fact. After all, the two had been the eyes of the people of the model couple. Desperate, the wife decided to go through immigration procedures. That night, the wife packed her bags, saw the gifts from her husband, recalled the former happiness, only to find irony. Just after buying the plane ticket, the young nanny sent a provocative text message. She was heartbroken and took off her wedding ring. At this time, the Immigration Bureau called to confirm the information. The husband had rushed to ask. She lied that it was a friend to immigrate. The husband heard the relief, reiterated that he had no way to go abroad because of his family's special circumstances, called the woman cannot immigrate to leave their own, and then said that he had prepared a surprise for her. The next day is the wife's birthday. The husband arranged in advance of the brother for her birthday party, but called the nanny to send birthday gifts, but also prepared a necklace worth $10 million, the world's only two. The wife knows the other one to the small nanny. Because of the small nanny wearing a necklace deliberately send a message provocation, the woman's mood cannot be calm, ran to the toilet, but the nanny followed, secretly said the woman to get the necklace is really easy, unlike her, but promised the man nothing to wear, just wear this necklace to him to see, only to get one, mocking the woman will not be able to curry favor with men, but also said that can be hooked in front of the crowd to the husband away. The husband had sworn fidelity to his wife, but in the middle of the party, he left with his young nanny. Hearing that the man's friend even deliberately covered for him, the wife learns of this and decides that she will no longer leave peacefully, and will make her husband pay. In the birthday wish, she asked the man to give her a name to sign a white paper, but also asked the man to transfer all the shares of the company to her. Unsurprisingly, the man decisively agreed to hear these. The nanny was furious. Just as the woman wants to make a third wish, the nanny suddenly fainted. Friends diagnosed that she was actually pregnant, and urgently sent to the hospital. The wife watched her husband holding the nanny to leave. The heart is very uncomfortable. She silently wishing for the third wish, leave him forever. After arriving home, the nanny and sent intimate video. The child is indeed the husband's. He seems to be very much looking forward to the birth of this child. The wife asked the lawyer to use her husband, signed a white paper to prepare a divorce agreement, but also organized the husband over the years to send things ready to sell for charity, while asking the lawyer to send the nanny provocative video legally spread out, suing her for moral damages. When the husband came home and saw the divorce papers, he was shocked, but he is adamant that the divorce be dismissed, and the lawyer informs him that his wife has all the evidence of infidelity, and that this is a litigated divorce that cannot be changed. At this point, he learned that the city's billboards and the internet are exposing the evidence of his cheating. It turns out that what he thought was dripping with water, his wife already knew, and it is too late for remorse, but there is no way out. Remembered that you seem to like this artist, and thought I'd bring it over to show you. His voice was low and gentle, and there was a hint of shyness in his eyes. Really, thank you so much. I took the sketchbook in surprise, and as my fingers touched his hand, I felt the warmth of his fingertips, and a warmth welled up inside me. You are welcome. It's rare to find like-minded people. He smiled, and that smile made me think he was a very delicate person inside. From there, our paths crossed more and more. Jack would often offer to help me when I had a heavy job to do, such as lifting heavy objects or repairing furniture, and his strength and attentiveness made me feel incredibly at ease. Whenever he finished helping, we would sit on the sofa and have a cup of coffee, chatting about trivial things in life, and his calmness and maturity could always give me a lot of inspiration. Tom, on the other hand, would drag me to all sorts of fun events from time to time, music festivals, art exhibitions, street parties and so on. With him, life is full of surprises and excitement, and he always lights up my life with his enthusiasm and vigor. Once, we were swaying to the music at a music festival, when he suddenly hugged me tightly, and whispered loudly in my ear, "Emily, every moment with you makes me feel incredibly happy." At that moment, my heart raced, and looking into his passionate eyes, it was as if I was caught in a sweet vortex. David, on the other hand, would sit with me on the balcony at his leisure, and share each other's favorite books and movies. We would explore the characters and plots of the books together, sharing each other's feelings and thoughts. His thoughts were deep and unique and always opened my eyes to a different world. Once, after we watched a movie about love, he gently held my hand and said, "Emily, you are just like the heroine in the movie, bringing different colors to my life." His words sent ripples through my heart, and I looked into his gentle eyes, and felt a different kind of warmth. As time went on, I found myself developing a special bond with all three of them, one that excited and frightened me at the same time. I enjoyed every moment with them, and each of them came into my heart in different ways that overwhelmed me. One weekend night, Jack invited me to his house for dinner. He cooked a sumptuous dinner himself, and the atmosphere was very romantic with candlelight flickering. During the meal, he suddenly held my hand and said fondly, "Emily, during this time with you, I felt an unprecedented warmth and happiness. I like you and would love to go on with you forever." His eyes were firm and blazing, leaving me a little overwhelmed. I was about to respond to him when the doorbell suddenly rang. Jack went to open the door only to see Tom and David standing in the doorway, both of them slightly stunned to see me there as well. "What are you guys doing here?" Jack asked. We wanted to come and talk to Emily about something," Tom said a little awkwardly. David, on the other hand, looked at me silently, his eyes revealing a hint of mixed emotions. At that moment, there was a tension in the air. I stood there, my heart racing, not knowing how to deal with this sudden situation. Jack, Tom and David all looked at me, with anticipation and questions in their eyes. I took a deep breath and decided to be honest with myself. "Jack, Tom, and David," I said softly, my voice trembling a little, "this time with you has been the best time of my life. Each of you has brought a different color to my life, and made me feel loved and warm. I found myself falling in love with all three of you at the same time, and I don't know how to choose." After saying that, I looked at them nervously, my heart filled with apprehension. Jack frowned slightly, then sighed softly, "Emily, I know it's complicated, but I really don't want to lose you." Tom, on the other hand, flashed his trademark smile. "Haha, looks like we are playing fair. But Emily, whatever you decide, I want you to be happy." David silently walked over to me and gently held my hand. "Emily, I will respect your choice, and no matter what the outcome is, I hope we can still be friends." At that moment, I was touched by their understanding and tolerance. I knew that no matter what the future held, this relationship would be the most precious memory in my life. Since then, our relationship has become more subtle. We would still hang out and chat together, but the air was always filled with a special scent. Jack would take care of me more carefully, Tom would amuse me with his humor and enthusiasm, and David would listen quietly when I needed to talk. One hot summer afternoon, the four of us went to a lake in the countryside. The lake was sparkling and surrounded by green trees, a good place to escape the summer heat. We set up our tents by the lake and prepared to spend a leisurely afternoon here. Jack and Tom were having a water fight by the lake, chasing each other around like two kids, the splashes glittering in the sunlight. David and I were sitting in the tent, drinking juice and enjoying the view. A warmth welled up in my heart as I watched them energize. "Emily, you know what?" David suddenly said softly. Every day I'm with you, I feel especially at ease. Your kindness and gentleness make me feel at home. His eyes were gentle and affectionate, making my heart flutter a little. Before I had a chance to respond, Jack and Tom came running in dripping wet. Why, that was awesome. Emily, come try it too. Tom grabbed me by the hand and dragged me out of the tent. We were enjoying ourselves at the lake when Jack suddenly grabbed me from behind and pulled me towards the water. I screamed and struggled, and Tom laughed and helped. David, on the other hand, watched us from the shore with a happy smile on his face. At that moment, it was as if I forgot all my worries and just soaked in the good times. At night, we lay on the grass by the lake, looking up at the stars. Jack lay on my left side, his hand gently holding mine. Tom lay on my right side, his head resting on my shoulder, and David lay at my feet, his eyes looking up at the stars in thought. Emily, look at that star. It's so bright, Tom said suddenly, pointing to the sky. Well, just like our lives, full of hope and light, I said softly. Jack held my hand tightly and said, no matter what the future holds, I hope we can always be together like this. David sat up as well, and looked at me and said, Emily, I will always be watching over you. At that moment, I was surrounded by their love, and my heart was filled with emotion and happiness. I knew that no matter what choice I ultimately made, they would always be there for me, and this bond would be etched in my heart forever. As time passed, the bond between us grew deeper and deeper. One weekend night, the four of us gathered at my apartment. Jack brought a cake he had made himself, Tom brought a new song he had composed, and David brought a new book of poems he had written. The atmosphere was warm and cordial as we savored the food and shared each other's work. After the party was over, Jack, Tom and David had no intention of leaving. They looked at me with love and longing in their eyes. I knew that tonight was going to be a special night. Jack was the first to walk up to me. He gently wrapped his arms around my waist and lowered his head to kiss me. His kiss was passionate and deep, making me feel his passion and love. Tom was not to be outdone. He wrapped his arms around me from behind and kissed my neck. His kisses carried a fiery rush that made my whole body glow. David, on the other hand, gently stroked my hair and then tenderly kissed me on the lips. His kisses were delicate and gentle, making me feel his deep love and thoughtfulness. I gradually lost myself under their kisses and caresses. Our bodies were pressed together, feeling each other's temperature and heartbeats. Jack's hands roamed over my body, igniting the fire inside me. Tom's kisses took my breath away and I couldn't stop myself from being immersed in his passion. And David made me feel endless love with his gentle words and touch. That night, we unleashed our feelings for each other and enjoyed the beauty of love. Our bodies intertwined as if we were one. Jack's strength, Tom's passion, and David's gentleness all made me feel more satisfied and happy than ever before. The next morning, when I woke up, I saw that Jack, Tom, and David were all still asleep. I gently got up and walked to the balcony, looking at the sunshine outside. My heart was filled with emotion. I knew that this relationship was full of challenges and uncertainties, but I was willing to face it bravely because the love they gave me was the most precious treasure in my life. Since then, our lives have become sweeter and more fulfilling. We have spent many wonderful times together, whether watching the sunrise and sunset at the beach, or strolling through the streets in the rain. Every moment has become the most precious memories in our hearts. Although the future is full of unknowns, we are both willing to face it together, because we know that our love for each other will be our most solid support.